Welcome. Now, this is a little different. This video is going to be completely different than what I usually do. Today, we are going to be reading true crime stories, or a true crime story. This is one of the ones that is pretty well known, I suppose, the Hinterkaifeck Murders. I really hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly. I've been extremely interested in true crime lately, so this is what we're gonna do, because I need to get back into uploading. I know no one watches these videos, but they're fun, so that's what we're gonna do today. Yeah. So, let's get on with it. I found a, what are they called? Article about the Hinterkaifeck murders, so that's what I'll read today. Yeah. One of the creepiest and most famous unsolved murders in German history happened in 1922 on an isolated farmstead in Bavaria known as Hinterkaifeck. This farm was owned by the Gruber family, which included farmer Andreas, his wife Cecilia, their adult daughter Victoria, and her two children, 7-year-old Cecilia and 2-year-old Joseph, as well as a maid named Maria Baumgartner. In April of 1922, the bodies of every member of the Gruber family were found slaughtered in hideous and gruesome fashion throughout the property under mysterious circumstances that have, even a century later, never been solved. As Mental Floss explains, in the days leading up to the murders, Andreas had been noticing strange things at the farm, such as footsteps in the snow leading out of the woods toward the house, and never heading back out. A newspaper in the house that he didn't remember buying, and one of the family's 2 house keys disappearing. While Andreas remarked on these odd occurrences to his friends, he never reported them to the police. Another strange fact that went unremarked upon until after the murders was that the Gruber's previous maid had quit 6 months prior due to the fact that she believed the farm was haunted. When police asked her later why she believed Hinterkaifeck had ghosts, she said it was because she kept hearing footsteps in the attic and had a constant feeling of being watched. Andreas had dismissed her concerns as superstition, much to his own deterrent, it turns out. The grisly scene at the farmstead. Despite the Gruber family's reputation for keeping to themselves, the town became concerned when the younger Cecilio didn't come to school on April 1st. Soon, the family's absence from church was noticed, as was the considerable amount of mail for them piling up at the post office. By April 4th, a search party was assembled by neighboring families, led by Lorenz Schlittenbauer, a farmer who had previously had a relationship with the widowed Victoria. What they found was truly shocking. Grisly. You might want to skip the next paragraph if you don't care for these kind of details. That is a trigger warning. If you are bad with things like this, please skip. Do not watch these videos, please. Thank you. According to Atlas Obscura, the eldest Cecilio had her skull cracked from multiple blows to the head, as well as bearing signs of strangulation. Andreas had blood caked all over his face, which was described as shredded, with his cheekbones sticking out of his ragged flesh. The daughter Victoria also had her skull shattered, with signs that her face had been hit with a blunt object. The young Cecilia had her jaw shattered, and her face and neck were covered with slashing wounds. These bodies were found in the barn, covered with hay, while the maid Maria and little Joseph were found inside the farmhouse, covered with sheets and a dress, respectively. The 2 of them seemed to have died fairly quickly after a number of blows to the head and face. The tool used in these murders was likely a mattock, a pickaxe-like tool used for digging. The desperate investigation. As Mental Floss explains, the members of the Gruber family likely all died instantly, with the exception of the 7-year-old Cecilia. The autopsy revealed that she had lived several hours after the murders, and clumps of her own hair found in her hands suggest that she had torn out her hair in distress before dying of shock. Despite the horrifying fates of the Groupers, the search party found that the farm animals and family dog had not been harmed, and had, in fact, even been fed and tended to in the days between the murders and their discovery. Smoke had been seen coming from the chimney in those days as well, suggesting that the murderer had been living calmly at the farmstead. If the groomer's former maid was to be believed, it's possible he had been living inside the Hinterkaifeck home for almost 6 months. The police initially suspected vagrants, but nothing from the farm had been stolen, with large sums of money found still within the house. Lorenz Schittenbauer, who had been in a relationship with Victoria and might have even been Joseph's father, became a suspect, but he was cleared of suspicion when police couldn't place him at the crime scene. Most heinously, rumors arose that Andreas had fathered Joseph on his own daughter, and had killed the whole family before turning the matic on himself. However, none of the family's wounds were self-inflicted, so this theory was also dismissed. The Hinterkaifeck case today. According to Mental Floss, the Hinterkaifeck murders had to have been perpetrated by someone familiar with the farm work, as the killer maintained the farm for days and was handy with a matic, but not someone who lived on the Gruber farm itself. The brutal nature of the murders suggested someone with a grudge against one or more members of the family. Despite this information, police were unable to find solutions, and so the most reasonable avenue of investigation was subsequently pursued: physics. Shortly after the autopsies of the Gruber family, their heads were removed and sent to Munich, where clairvoyants were employed to seek out metaphysical clues from the Gruber family's skulls. No such luck, unfortunately. The Hinterkaifeck farm was demolished the year after the killings, and the Grubers were laid to rest in a nearby cemetery, without their heads, which were lost during the chaos of World War II. A monument stands today near where the farm used to be, memorializing the victims. Meanwhile, in 2007, the Fürstenfeldbruck Police Academy took on the Hinterkaifeck murders as a cold case. Despite the degradation and loss of evidence from the original crime scene, the death of various suspects, and the relative crudity of the initial investigation, the Academy was unable to conclusively solve the murder. But they did devise a theory that has been kept private out of respect for the families of those involved. As a result, the Hinterkaifeck murders remain, and might always remain, unsolved. This is honestly one of my favorite unsolved murders of literally ever. The fact that the murderer was able to live there for a while after killing them is terrifying, because that just means that anyone could have that. I genuinely have no words. I love this story. It's so interesting to read. This article only goes so far into it, but this story has so much depth that I recommend reading into it. There are so many little details that it did not mention in this. The murder weapon was never actually found. They do not know if it was actually a matic that was used to kill them. The murder weapon, they could not find the murder weapon. They also cannot figure out if they were killed inside the house, outside the house, in the barn, where. Because whoever it was that killed them cleaned up everything. It's genuinely one of the most confusing stories of the century. But I love it. It's such a good read, and I do seriously recommend it. But yeah, that's our short little video for today. The next video will probably be in a couple of days, maybe this weekend, I'm not sure. It might actually be tomorrow, since I don't have anything to do. Yeah, we'll do it that way. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then do what you do best. Whatever. If you guys could leave a comment and give me suggestions on any true crime stories that you guys like, I might read them But for now, that's all I've got, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!